The young leaders really need to help spread the message that bullying is not normal. It's not kids being kids, and they're really the ones who can help spread that. And they can do that by reporting what's going on to adults in their school and making sure that they stand up for their peers when peers are being bullied. I'm not going to ask you if you've been bullied or you've been a bully, or if you've witnessed bullying, but if you have fallen in any of those three categories, raise your hand. So this is not a new topic. This is not something that we need to sit and really go, okay, bullying is repeated behavior where there's power imbalance that involves aggressive behavior. You know that. You've seen that. You've seen it in the media. You've heard about it. The real question that I'm always asked is, well, what can we do about it? So one of the things that I want to encourage everyone in this room to do is make sure that, as you rightfully put up your Post-its, stand up for each other. But sometimes that doesn't always work. Sometimes you need to get adults involved. Make sure that you know that adults are on your side, that are allies. And if they're not, there are certain things that you can do to raise this to a higher level.
What's changed, though, particularly for our community, post 9/11, is that now what we're seeing is that it's become quite pervasive, where we're dealing with issues where people are being called Osama bin Laden, people are being called terrorists. It's almost becoming the new normal for you, and I'm sure many of you have probably dealt with this issue. And here's a critical issue as well. The number of cases filed through the Office for Civil Rights, the Department of Education, is very, very low. But every time we go out to the community, I mean, how many folks had their hands up earlier today when they said, when Deb said, have you been bullied? Are you a bully? Or you've witnessed it? But we have very, very few cases that are reported to the federal government. And one thing that we're trying to do is, moving to next year, is to make sure that oh, can folks hear me now? Sorry. We want to make sure that people are reporting these cases. If I can make a request of everybody here, I think you guys are all the future leaders, of the community. Please go back and tell people. If you could put on a seminar at your school, at your community center, at your mosque, whatever it is, please tell people to report this. Otherwise, we're not even going to be, on the map. We're just going to be just kind of a little speck and not being recognized for what's actually happening to our communities.
And if I can just tag on to what Akko was saying, there's a couple of things to remember. There's a chain of progression of how you should report this. The federal government can only do so much. Our role, the Office for Civil Rights and the Civil Rights Division enforce civil rights laws, and that says that, at least from the Office for Civil Rights and the Department of Education, that all schools must adequately address issues of harassment pertaining to those civil rights laws at school. So it's when the school is not adequately doing something that the government can come in and sort of remediate the situation.
I'm Amrita Singh, and I work with the Sikh American Legal Defense and Education Fund, SALDEF, and we're an advocacy organization. So I came here today to sort of share how an advocacy organization deals with issues like bullying. And what we do is we educate, we go to schools, and we go to the community, and we educate people just to kind of create, people are ignorant sometimes, and that's where it breeds bullying.
And then also we focus on legislative advocacy, and an example of that is there's a bill, and it's called the Safe Schools Improvement Act. And what this bill would do is strengthen existing protections that are in the education bill, and it will it'll basically require states to collect more information on bullying, and then report that information to the Department of Education, and then make it public, so you can all know how many reported bullying cases there are from state to state, school to school. It'll also require schools to clearly prohibit bullying and harassment. Right now, schools, they kind of all have different bullying policies, and we want to make it a little stronger and broader, so that it will specifically state that bullying is when you target somebody because of their national origin, their religion, their race, their gender, their sexual orientation. Because when these are listed in policies, it's shown that students feel more comfortable talking to teachers, and teachers are more apt to step in and get involved.
I'm a little nervous. It's the first time I've talked about bullying in a public forum in my whole life, especially after a Harry Potter trivia contest. So I was really, I was bullied. It was unbelievable. I actually grew up here in the DC area and went to Leland Junior High School, which is no longer there. They tore it down, thank God, because it was a horrible place. People asked me if I was in any fights in school, and I said no, but I was in a number of beatings. Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, every day of my school in junior high was really awful. I mean, I don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but it was really tough to deal with, and I guess people kind of grew out of it as high school came to a close and went to college and got into computers, big surprise, being Indian and Japanese, worked at IBM, and then went on a long road, went to Intel, was terrified of speaking in my job. I had to travel with the chairman of the board, Andy Grove, and do presentations on stage. And I took a comedy class to get over the fear of speaking. Then I met somebody named Russell Peters, who you all heard of. You all couldn't afford him, so you got me instead. and if you read his book, he was also very, very bullied. He heard this word "Paki" over and over again, which I didn't even know about this word. He told me about this. This is a real ethnic slur like the N-word in Canada, apparently. And he heard it every day, and he was bullied. And it's an interesting lesson, because a lot of people whom you meet, who are famous, who are in the arts, acting, or musicians or whatever, one real common thread amongst people who are in show business is they either had a really bad childhood, either from the standpoint of their parents and their family, like they came from a broken home, which is not true in my case, or they had some tremendous problems in school and they were bullied. So the one thing I would say that there's a positive that comes out of being bullied is that it gives you the motivation to go and to do great things and to show people, that you really are worth something. And I don't know if it's necessarily a healthy thing, but if you can stand, if you can survive being bullied, and if you can, if you can just kind of say to yourself, that this might actually lead to something, that being bullied like this might actually make me stronger in the long run. And if you're going through it right now, and I'm sure some of you are, it's really tough. I know it really is. But if you can get through it, then there are brighter days ahead.